Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Make Today Mammoth. I'm your host, Dallas Hardcastle. In today's episode, I want to try to explain the absolute importance on building integrity with yourself through your actions first thing in the morning, through your morning routine, so that you can become invincible and on point for the remainder of your day. If this is your first episode, welcome. And if you are joining us again, thank you so very much. Very much appreciate everybody sincerely starting to listen and download and starting to get comments on social media. And we really appreciate it. If this is your first time or if you have already joined us before, all that we do is ask that if this is something valuable to you, we are here to try to help business owners and entrepreneurs be able to create what we call an owned experience where you can really create the life that you love and the business that you love, meaning that you have the time and the financial freedoms to actually do so, because one without the other, in my opinion, carries very little value. So if you find this show valuable, all that we ask is that you will spend just 10 seconds to go and rate or review this episode, a click of the button and say that you like it, give us the 5-star review. And if you feel it's valuable enough, help out other entrepreneurs, spread that goodwill and share it, and help out some other entrepreneurs that are maybe on a journey that are really struggling right now. So with that, let's get started. So this is an area that we focus on in my life. And this, believe me, this took me a long time, unfortunately, in my life. It's just, I was much later into my life when I finally really understood this. And I would say this has really just been in the past maybe 6 or 7 years, unfortunately, that I really understood this. But when we hear things about integrity, sometimes we may be shut off. I don't know if you shut off or not, but in the past, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a good guy, right? I'm a good guy, full of integrity, so I don't really need to pay attention to this. Unfortunately, I did that over and over. Here's where I really messed it up, and here's where it can change your business trajectory. I promise you. The things we talk about, I want it to change your business trajectory, not by just a little millimeters. I want it to be big. So this is what I mean, is what most of us do in the morning is we get up and we don't have that real precise plan. We get up, we get our day started. We kind of muddle our way through our morning, maybe those first hour or two, and we're kind of trying to figure out what we're going to get started and what we're going to do for our day. And it throws off the balance of momentum, inertia, and integrity. And this is what I mean. Most of us as business owners, most of us as entrepreneurs have great integrity when it comes to others, meaning when we say we're going to send the email to that person, when we say we're going to show up, when we say we're going to get that thing to them, when we say we're going to run out to the store to pick up those things for those people, when we're going to help out a team member, help out a family member, help out a friend, when we say we're going to do those things, we wind up doing them. That's great. That's integrity outside towards others. But what we do is we're really messed up the integrity for ourselves. And what I mean specifically is when we wake up in the morning, we have an extraordinary opportunity to set ourselves on a really positive trajectory that is filled with integrity for ourselves. It's filled with the possibility of being able to get ourselves in such a positive mindset, such a positive way of thinking, that then we begin to get and build up these wins. We begin to build up this positivity, this can do. We begin to build and stack yeses and momentum, and they really begin to feed and move into our day. So very tactically, what I do and what I recommend you really consider doing is when you wake up in the morning, we can either stack 6, 8, 10, 12 wins in a row, or we can unfortunately also stack up 6, 8, 10, 12 losses in a row. So this, in my opinion, is a huge factor. Whenever you've heard someone talk about winning the day, if you want to win the day, win the morning. Man, I can't think of any better way to describe it than this. When your alarm goes off, get out of bed. I know to some of you listening to this, it's going to sound really simple and really worth ignoring, right? What's the big deal, Dallas, if I snooze once or twice? That's not changing my entire day. That's not changing my life. That's not changing my business. Well, I disagree. And if you really, really strongly want to hold on to that view, then we can agree to disagree. But I have done this for a really long time, and I've been able to work with a whole lot of entrepreneurs. And elite entrepreneurs stack their yeses first thing in the morning. They stack the alarm going off, and they don't snooze it. They don't lay around. They get up when the alarm goes off. If you want that to be 4 in the morning, if you want that to be 7 in the morning, I don't really care. I think there's some evidence that shows that the people that get up and get going a little bit earlier tend to be able to get a little bit more success under their belt a little earlier, and thus be able to end their day a little earlier. But to stack those, meaning you set your alarm, you get up. You decide that you're going to drink a liter of lemon water to get yourself rehydrated, and you do it. Maybe you decide you're going to have some kind of a healthy start to your day for breakfast. Maybe that's cold pressed juice, or maybe it's apple cider vinegar, or maybe it's a cup of black coffee, or whatever your thing is. But you decide you're going to put in some energetic food, some live foods, and you do that. And then you say you're going to get in your exercise, and you do that, or a walk. And then you say that you're going to meditate for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you journal for 5 or 10 minutes. And then maybe you practice breathing for 5 or 10 minutes. All of this without your phone on, right? No phone, no social media, no getting into all that nonsense. When you start to stack these up, you begin to build up these yeses. And if this is the first time you're hearing this, I have very little doubt that this is conjuring up a little bit of, yeah, that sounds a little bit much, Dallas. I don't think it could be that big of a deal, blah, blah. All I can do is, you don't just listen to me. Please just do your own research on this stuff. But when we can manage our mornings, when we can win the morning where we have 6, 8, 10, 12 yeses in a row, I wake up on time. Yes. For me, sometimes that means then hydrating. Yes. Some cold pressed vegetable juice. Yes. I'll add some turmeric and, maybe black powder and maybe some apple cider vinegar. Yes, yes, yes. And then a cup of black coffee. Yes. And then meditation. Yes. And then journal. Yes. And then exercise. Yes. And then maybe some mindfulness stuff, some stuff I'm going to work on in the morning. Yes. And then maybe it's the ice cold shower for 5 minutes in the morning. Yes. That's like 10 yeses. When I commit to myself to do these things, when I build up that integrity to myself to do these things, I now have momentum every single morning. And then, of course, we can always add, subtract. I mean, these aren't like lifetime things. We're always evolving. We're always growing. We're always changing. But when we can do that, it will change the way that you get your morning started. I promise you it will, as opposed to that I've done this over Zoom. I've done it live. I've been in our small group, our live events, our VIP events. And it's relatively easy to find out now that we're talking with somebody, and I'll be asking them a series of questions about what's going on, why they're struggling, and what's happening. And, a lot of times it's business related. Of course, there's this thing or that thing, this strategy, the thing we need to work on inside the business. But so often that personal piece ties into the business piece. And that becomes a lot of times like, hey, tell me about how do you start your day? And they just wake up and it's in chaos. They just wake up maybe, and they wake up the same times as their kids. And, they love their kids, but kids bring a different energy first thing in the morning, and they wake up and they wake up into the chaos, right? And there's yelling and running and screaming, and they're just bumbling over there and trying to grab a cup of coffee, to get rid of their headache or whatever. And they slept in later than they wanted to. And then they're just shoveling down a thing of coffee while the kids are running around and screaming, and they're trying to get the kids' stuff done. And they wanted to get up early to meditate. They wanted to journal. They wanted to exercise. They wanted to do some visualization or some deep breathing, or just something that really allows them to relax and to get themselves into their day. But they're 0 for 5, 0 for 6, 0 for 7. They get up late. And then the rest of their day, unfortunately, that domino now begins to go the other way. So we can have that domino and start knocking that thing down by getting up on time. And then it hits over the next 6, 7, 8 dominoes that are all yes dominoes, because we're on time and we're building that positive momentum because we're doing yes, 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 yes. Unfortunately, we can get up late. We can be kind of discombobulated and we're not getting our stuff done. And then unfortunately, that same exact domino, instead of, leaning this way into the yeses, it can lean this way. And it's like, oh, now I'm behind. Now I'm not going to be able to do this. or my breathing, or my journaling, or my rehydration, or my exercise, or my meditation, or my mindfulness, or my business planning for the day, or my take notes for that meeting that I have first thing. It just starts to stack all these things against us. And then that starts to just really run into our entire day. So please begin this right away, begin it tomorrow. And what my recommendation to you is wake up, set your alarm, and get started then. Your alarm goes off, wake up exactly at that time, and then build the integrity for yourself. You build the integrity for yourself, and it begins to stack on your day. And when you take this in just the tiniest little, the micro, right? You do that in a day and it stacks your day. But what we do then is we do this for 5 days in a row. And now we have Monday through Friday. So by the time we do this, this stacking compounds. So day 5 is different than day 1. Day 30 is different than day 5. Day 100 is different than day 30. Meaning that when you stack these days, you stack this integrity, you stack this congruency, this momentum, this speed, you're stacking these yeses. By the time you get to day 30, you're a different human than you are on day 1. I promise you that. By the time you get to day 100, you will have people outside of your immediate small circle begin asking you questions about what you're doing. They're like, dude, I'm watching you on social media. I'm watching your videos. I'm watching you do this. I'm seeing how you're showing up. Your clients, your partners, they will begin to ask you how you're different, what you're doing differently. The secret weapon is this, is that you're building up and you're stacking these yeses, all of this momentum, all of this positivity. So you're so aligned, you're so congruent, you're so in integrity, and you're so on fire that these are the things that begin to ripple outward across all of these different channels. As say, people that aren't even inside your direct circle, they're seeing a different you show up. I promise you. So friends, I hope that this has really been helpful. Please take this in the heed this warning. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. We will make sure that we respond to this thing. But this is the way that I, push to get every single one of my days started. So they're started right, they're started on fire. And so I can show up to do all the really important big things that matter. So everyone, again, this is Dallas Hardcastle. I appreciate you stopping by today. As always, I hope you make today mammoth, my friends, and we will look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.